Traditional influence often teaches us to just push an agenda, right? Just get your way. But true influence, it requires something entirely different. It's really about deeply and accurately understanding the internal state of others. It requires this quiet discernment, being able to read the room the same way a translator reads a text. You have to pick up on those invisible emotional currents because, well, those are what actually drive human behavior. It's absolutely crucial to realize that all your technical brilliance means kind of very little if you can't navigate that emotional landscape with genuine care. So, as leaders, we're really facing this clear divide right now. On one side, we've got performative confidence. You know what I mean? That absolute exhaustion of constantly chasing external validation, relying on those aggressive sales tactics, and basically managing your image instead of your actual impact. It is incredibly draining, isn't it? But thankfully, there is a totally different way. Presence-driven leadership is rooted in internal authority. It's this quiet, reflective reality where your core values actually dictate your actions. When you operate from that place of true alignment, you don't need to fake certainty. You don't have to wear a mask. Your genuine presence is what literally magnetizes people and builds real trust. Okay, so how do we actually operationalize this presence? Well, decades of psychological research have pinpointed these universal principles of human decision-making. And here at the Inner Lab, we like to look at them through the lens of what we call the 6 principles of alignment. Now, this isn't about manipulation. It's about taking these deeply ingrained psychological truths and using them to ethically guide others. Not to benefit yourself at their expense, no way. It's about helping them make choices that genuinely serve their absolute best interests. Let's dive into them. We're going to start by completely flipping traditional influence on its head. In a manipulative world, reciprocity is just this tit-for-tat exchange, right? Like, I give you something small, so now you owe me something big. But in presence-driven leadership, reciprocity is about freely sharing your insights and support. You're building a substantial bank of authentic goodwill by giving value long before you ever ask for anything in return. And then there's consistency. This definitely isn't about trapping someone into a verbal commitment. It's actually about asking really thoughtful questions that help people connect their core identity to a positive behavior. For instance, instead of just demanding someone show up on time, you could ask, are you someone who values punctuality? That subtle shift helps them naturally follow through, simply because it aligns with how they already see themselves. It's a real game changer. This kind of presence also completely transforms how we connect with people. Think about shared experience or social proof. Human nature literally wires us to look at what others are doing to guide our own actions. So facilitating just a brief 5-minute conversation between the person you want to guide and someone who has already successfully walked that exact path, that is infinitely more powerful than hours of you trying to persuade them yourself. That's authentic social proof in action. And what about liking? Well, it definitely isn't about giving out fake compliments or pretending you suddenly love the same obscure hobbies. It's the direct result of active, deep listening. It's finding authentic common ground, like maybe a shared professional challenge, and then asking thoughtful questions that make the other person feel truly heard and deeply understood. Now, I absolutely love this next concept, grounded expertise. It completely reframes the whole psychological principle of authority. Because real authority, it isn't about wielding some fancy title or parading around false credentials. Genuine authority is that quiet discernment you show when you consistently help people solve real, actual problems. And what's really fascinating here is that honesty actually amplifies your authority. When you honor your own limitations and you can comfortably say, you know what, I don't know the answer to that, but let me refer you to someone who does, your long-term credibility just skyrockets. You become a trusted guide, not some insecure performer trying to prove themselves. And that exact same honesty applies to how we honor authentic constraints. In traditional sales, the idea of scarcity is so often abused to create this artificial, panicky sense of urgency. I mean, we've all seen those fake countdown timers online, right? But presence-driven leadership strips all of that nonsense away. Here, scarcity simply means communicating your real, genuine boundaries. If your time is truly limited, or an opportunity genuinely has a strict deadline, you just communicate that honestly and cleanly. This isn't some manipulation tactic. It's simply providing clear parameters so the other person has the psychological safety and the space to make a truly informed decision. Ultimately, this leaves us with a really important question that I want you to just sit with today. How will you ethically guide others toward choices that serve their highest good? Because the whole goal of combining all these principles is never ever to trick someone into doing what you want. It's about creating genuine mutual value. So as we wrap up this explainer, take a moment for yourself. Choose to leave the performance behind. Step into your internal authority, lead with pure presence, and just watch how your capacity to genuinely influence people naturally and beautifully deepens.